bringing smart connected phones to all. That's been the goal of companies like Google and KaiOS, and both companies have taken a different approach to it. Google has taken their original Android OS, slimmed down the fat, cut down unnecessary features, and packaged it nicely into a product called Android Go. KaiOS, on the other hand, has taken the old feature phone form factor, stuffed in better processor, a bit more RAM, and allow it to run apps. But instead of normal apps, just most of the apps here are just cloud-based. But there's a new company trying to play in this ring. Their name is CloudMosa, and this is Puffin OS, a cloud-focused operating system. I've been sent an early engineering samples, so let's take a look, shall we? Puffin OS tries to take a hybrid approach to this market. Like KaiOS, the majority of the apps here are all web-based, so the majority of apps here will be PWAs that you can either install from their app store or pin from the web browser. But unlike KaiOS, they have opted for a touchscreen, saying that a touchscreen is optimal for delivering a rich web experience to mobile. The base operating system isn't new. They basically taken the Android Go SKU and cut it down even more, removing things like Google services. But in place of this is their magic sauce, which is their cloud processing engine that processes the web for you in their servers before sending it down to your phone. And they're doing so to ensure a fast and responsive experience that you won't be able to get by processing the web on a crummy processor. Point 2 is hard to argue against. There is a reason why majority of phone manufacturers moved to touchscreen after 2007. But the rest? That's kind of a lot of compromises for a faster web experience. No Play Store. And I mean, how much faster can surfing be? I mean, the film that they sent me to play with this with, the Snapdragon 425, isn't that weak in the first place, right? Okay, wow. Okay, this is blazing fast. Pages are loading at the same time or faster than my flagship phone? Or my computer? And I can multitask in 1GB of RAM? Okay, the web engine here is really cool. It is lightning fast, and not just compared to phones of its class. It is either the same or faster than my Snapdragon 730 high-end phone. And that is a phone that is 7 times more expensive than the reference phone which they sent me, which is the Redmi Go. Now, to be fair, I live in the most optimal conditions. They have servers in Singapore doing the processing. I live in Singapore, I have very fast internet, but they do claim that this will still perform great even on poor networks such as 2.5G networks and 3G networks. They even state that this should be a better experience than a normal phone as everything is compressed on the web as well. And it does this while being able to keep a lot of tabs in RAM. The RAM usage that Puffin uses, even when I have a lot of tabs open, is quite minimal, and it makes multitasking really good. Even with 20 semi-heavy tabs open, I can switch from tab to tab without skipping much of a beat. In comparison, when I was using Chrome on Android Go, I had low memory warnings with just 3 heavy tabs. And all this with the engine being completely invisible to the user. When using the Puffin browser, it felt as if I was browsing the web on a high-end phone. Oh, and it saves data as well because it gets compressed in the cloud before being sent to you, which we have seen from other browsers like Opera and such, but this does so even with HTTPS, and it even has more features. You can block ads, you can process, play, and use HTML or Flash games and apps. And with that cloud power, you can even do cool and crazy things like run Windows 95 on your budget phone. All this while seemingly looking like a normal browser. Yes, there's the issue of privacy as everything is rendered in the cloud. In fact, because this is handling HTTPS traffic as well, in some sense it's an even more invasive VPN. Puffin's response to that is that they did not save any of the data on their servers after it's processed. In fact, their response to GPDR is, we don't store any data. And server upkeep costs are included in the cost of the phone, at least for the Founders Edition, which is currently being kickstarted, which if you're interested, you can still pick up one quickly from the Kickstarter campaign below. So there's not going to be some ads to try to gain back some money. Additionally, the OS is light, even after sideloading Spotify Lite, Telegram, and using the phone extensively for web browsing, Instagramming, all sorts of things. I only use 1.5GB of space. In comparison to Android Go, the phone used up just shy of 4GB of storage. And I didn't even install anything. So that doesn't include things like Instagram cache. But we live in an app age. So the question is, web apps, yay or nay? Wait, hold on first. Not all apps are cloud apps. Puffin, CloudMosa has recognized that a lot of messaging platforms do not have a web app. So on the technical unit they sent me, and on the Founder Edition phone that's going out, WhatsApp and Facebook Lite will be pre-installed. And those apps work great. They say they have tested this with sideloading other messaging apps. I sideloaded Telegram because that's my primary messaging app of choice, and it works great. And because the Redmi Go they sent me with their preview is using Oreo right now, I get inline replies, which is awesome. Back to web apps though. Now the Facebook Lite app is ugly as death. The mobile Facebook page looks a lot better, but there's no going live. Other than that though, most features are here and work great. I personally use the Facebook website on my main phone instead of the app, so no complaints here. Twitter is basically as fully functional as their app. The only thing that I would say the app has that the web browser doesn't have is the gestures. So for example, when you tap an image, you can usually swipe up or down to quickly dismiss it and go back to your feed. Can't do that on the web version. Reddit works as good as the mobile site comes. Even with Puffin's acceleration, Reddit still feels kinda slow. And there also is an option to disable the notification that you should use the mobile app, but it doesn't seem to stick for some reason. Dark mode is here though, so that's cool. Instagram loads quickly but not noticeably faster than the app. Posting stories though is kind of limited, as you cannot put any stickers and you're just limited to putting text and drawing on your stories. Videos when viewing stories don't automatically load, and you can't swipe right to quickly skip a whole account's stories. Gmail is super smooth, but the UI looks like it came out from Android from 2010. It's ugly. Oh, and no push notifications. Outlook is not as quick, but hey, at least it looks modern. We even get swipe gestures, though again, no push notifications. Maps is basically the same as Maps Go on Android Go, as Maps Go is a web wrapper, so it works fine. But it's pretty light on features though, with the big one probably being the lack of turn-by-turn navigation. Shopee, a shopping app, is so fast. I don't see much lack of features here, and it's so much faster than the main app that I use on my day-to-day Android phone. Love the experience here, 7 stars. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's awesome. Spotify Lite works fine. I sideloaded it. You can also sideload the main app, so I guess it's as good as it comes. Another local app that I use is called City Mapper. It lacks the ability for me to view nearby bus stops, to check bus timing, and it's just kind of glitchy with the map. It's still usable for searching directions to get from one place to the other, but the other parts of the experience is so neutered that it's pretty poor. In my experience with sticking with web apps instead of the local APKs that I'm used to, yes, the experience is blazing fast, typically, but it is neutered when it comes to features. And there are other quirks as well. Most websites see that you're browsing from a mobile device, so they'll try to push you to go and download their mobile app and use it instead, which is not a thing on Puffin OS. Some of them are not a big deal. It's a one-time thing that shows up, you can dismiss it, and it will never show again. Others are more consistent notifications that show up every time you open the site. And then there are others that are just plain not dismissible and you have to scroll out of your way to get out of it. And not everything is a web app yet. And depending on your region, it might be really good or really bad. Here in Singapore, the big ones that I'm missing are transport app, two-factor apps, and mobile QR code banking. Heck, I even sideloaded Telegram and Spotify Lite because I needed them. That being said, it is a regional thing, and developers are moving to making web apps, a program where you can code once and run everywhere. There is some uptake to it. But with Puffin OS being a primarily touch OS and marketed as a touchscreen phone, people will associate it with having a fully featured app store. And not having that is going to be a huge oof. But hey, at least you can't download some crappy RAM booster app from the Play Store that it's a placebo and actually makes your phone. Seriously, Stop doing that, people. It makes your phone worse. But do I think it has a chance at surviving in the market? In my opinion, it really all comes down to pricing. In the dirt cheap low-end specs market, where I'm talking 4 gigs of storage, half a gig to 1 gig of RAM, which I believe fully that Puffin OS can scale down to, I believe that they have a huge shot. It is richer, more fully featured, and insanely faster than KaiOS for reasons that I've explained before in previous videos. And at these specs, normal Android phones, even Go ones, do experience problems. Because even with little apps installed, you'll be surprised at how much Google services eats that up. However, at Android Go level, where we start seeing 1 gig and up RAM with 8 gigs of storage on devices, it gets a bit more iffy. Yeah, Instagram takes longer to launch. There are bouts of lag here and there, but I can put stickers on my stories. I can download this weird local app. So even though I'm dealing with all these issues, plus micromanaging my storage and not having my stuff compressed, which Puffin does, some people will be willing to sacrifice for that app. But the moment we step out of Go category into phones with 2 to 3 gigabytes of RAM, 16 to 32 gigabytes of storage, performance at that point is good enough that it's hard to justify taking Puffin OS, especially when you can consider you can reap most of the performance benefits of Puffin OS by just installing the browser from the Play Store. And as high-end chips get pushed lower and lower in price, I do have my concerns about Puffin OS. Yes, one can argue that over time, apps will get more bloated, they'll get heavier, and will start to slow down more on normal Android phones. While on Puffin OS, because everything is processed on the server, it will still remain as quick as it was, and more developers are going to web apps, so maybe that makes it more mature. But this is a discussion that we don't know the outcome of. I applaud Puffin OS for trying something unique. A focus on catering towards low-end pain points such as performance, data management is something that a lot of companies don't do, and Puffin does right. In competition to Kai, other than the form factors that KaiOS can rely on, Puffin OS wins by a landslide in my opinion. Against Android though, the web apps ecosystem just isn't that strong yet. But it is maturing daily, and for some people, what is here already is enough. And for those people, you can enjoy a phone that feels blazing fast without spending much. And that's awesome. Thank you to the Puffin OS team for sending out the phone for me to try. You guys are awesome. If you're interested in the phone or you want to learn more, I have linked more stuff in the description, including the Kickstarter campaign, which ends soon. So if you're interested, pick one up right now. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.